Welcome to the virtual launch of Shattering Stereotypes, Fiercely Forging Forward. We are beyond thrilled to have each of you join us as we celebrate this incredible milestone that is full of powerful voices that make this work so impactful. My name is Dr. Jocelyn McDonald, but you can call me Dr. Mac, and I am the publishing director of Mac Media and Publishing. And at Mac Media, we are dedicated to amplifying the voices of bold changemakers, those who inspire, those who challenge and push the boundaries of what is possible. We believe in nurturing stories that don't just inform, but transform, sparking conversations that drive meaningful progress. Our mission is clear: to spotlight the resilience, leadership, and lived experiences of those who break barriers, redefine norms, and create space for others to thrive. Shattering Stereotypes, Fiercely Forging Forward embodies that very spirit. The book is just a testament of strength, perseverance, and the power of owning one's narrative. It brings together diverse voices. It offers unique perspectives and overcoming obstacles, standing firm in purpose, and paving the way for future generations. Today's launch is more than just an introduction to a book. It is a celebration of courage, authenticity, and transformation. We hope this event not only highlights the richness of stories within these pages, but also ignite meaningful conversations that resonate with you and your own journey. Now, it is my great honor to introduce to you all the visionary author behind this powerful work, Dr. Iris Garner. She is a trailblazer, a thought leader, and a passionate advocate for breaking barriers and building bridges. Her dedication to empowering individuals to step boldly into their purpose shines through every page of this book. Through her vision, Shattering Stereotypes serves as a both as an inspiration and a call to action for those who are ready to embrace the power of the challenge of the status quo. Now, I want to thank you all for joining us on this exciting journey, and we are excited to bring to the stage at this point to share her inspiration behind the book and provide us with an overview of the themes and discuss the significance in redefining leadership, identity, and success. And so, with great ado, I would like to introduce you all to Dr. Iris Garner.
Wow, thank you for that. Thank you for what a tremendous introduction. I appreciate you and all the work that you've put into this. And I have to start out by saying that this is truly a labor of love. The inspiration for this book stemmed from my deep desire to challenge misconceptions, break barriers, and inspire change. I want to transform my greatest challenges into stepping stones for other success. They have to account for something. Throughout my journey, I have witnessed and been negatively impacted by stereotypes, whether it was my zip code or gender or race or other societal expectations. Stereotypes have and continue to sabotage potential and suppress individuality. These experiences fueled my determination to tell stories, share insights, provide a roadmap for resilience, empowerment, and progress. We are hopeful that each section of this book will take you through the critical steps of shattering stereotypes and forging forward. The first part of the journey is breaking barriers and challenging stereotypes, exploring the ways societal norms hold us back. And then we'd ask that you journey into owning your power and identity, understanding the importance of self awareness, confidence, and embracing your uniqueness. And lastly, my favorite part, redefining success and creating your own path, moving beyond conventional definitions of achievement. Create your own story, live your way, and make bold moves forward. And lastly, I would say, I don't want you to consider this book to be strictly about obstacles. It is us rewriting narratives, redefining success, and encouraging others to rise beyond the labels placed upon them. My hope is that it serves as a catalyst for personal growth and transformation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Garner, for sharing your heartfelt inspiration and giving us a glimpse into the themes that make this book so special. Now, we're excited to take this celebration a step further, you all, by hearing from some of the incredible contributing authors who have shared their transformational journeys in shattering stereotypes, fiercely forging forward. So, please join me in welcoming our first two contributing authors, Dr. Brandy Munoz and Mr. Michael Wood.
Dr. Brandy Munoz is an ICF certified coach and career strategist with more than 15 years of experience in talent development and HR strategy. She specializes in leadership development, organizational change management, empowering diverse professionals, particularly women and people of color, to excel in their careers. Michael Wood is rooted in faith and brings more than 20 years of experience in ministry and the technology service industry, with a passion for guiding leaders through complex challenges, understanding the unique struggles leaders and their families face. He offers empathy, insight, and faith based solutions to help others. I'd love to start out by asking this is my favorite question. What inspired you both to contribute to this book? You want to start us out, Mike?
Sure. It's going to be hard to follow that beautiful intro, but well, I know what it's like to be stereotyped. I know what it's like to be a single divorced dad and the stereotypes that come with that. The one pick last. I've heard the size of disappointment to have people judge me without knowing me, like they expect me to fail before I even know what the task is. To have people writing me off without them even taking the time to know my story. But I also know what it feels like to know the real me and to be confident in it because I've tasted that freedom. And when I heard Dr. Garner talk about this book, I knew I wanted to be a part of this project to share the lessons that I've learned with others so that they too can walk in this freedom.
Thank you, Mike. I have to tell you that I've learned from you, and I appreciate that. And
Thank you.
Brandy, if you would share just a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of this passion project. To tell you the truth, this research that I've been doing over the last 4 years in my doctoral program was the catalyst for chapter, a star proponent of elevating women, women of color, people of color, in corporate America. And so part of, the stories in these chapters are real stories and real scenarios that I've encountered, that my peers have encountered, and a lot of the women and the people that I've interviewed over the years in my research. And so I'm just really proud and honored to share their stories, have their voices heard, and continue to advocate for equity and just being able to create more psychological safety in the workplace.
Your work is so important. Thank you for sharing that. And we'll stay with you. Another question for you. What was the personal experience that made this topic important to you?
That's a great question. Like I said, over the last several years, I've been doing more. I entered college, basically. I felt like I was walking in a different skin, if you will. The way where I grew up, it was very diverse, very accepting. I really didn't understand the world around me until I became an adult and got in, started college and got into the working world and realized that there were stereotypes out there, that there was, discriminatory practices, and these things happened to me. I saw them happen to others. And I started to experience those. And so the research became very personal to me because I wanted to understand the why and how these things happen, and then what we could do what I could do and what others could do to help just overcome and go through these challenges and not feel like a victor. and to really just push through barriers. And so that's been the work that I've done over my entire career, is helping to elevate others, helping to build confidence, really sharing my story that will ultimately help others share their story, so they know they're not alone, that there are others that go through these situations regardless of race, culture, background, ethnicity. It happens to everybody's socioeconomic status. So no one is immune to some of the things that I've experienced, that others have experienced. And so we all share in that. And I just want everyone to know that they are valued, their voices are important, and we need to continue this important work.
Thank you for that. And, your journey is part of the change. It initiates change and expand the way people think and make them feel more included. So I appreciate that. Mike, we'll journey over to you now. And I'd ask that you share just a little bit around what type of impact you'd like the readers to have after reading your chapter and experiencing this book.
Well, this chapter explores how we can let go of the pressures placed upon us by others, and to break free from the expectations and the stereotypes forced on us without our permission, without our input. And I want the reader to find hope that there's light at the end of that lonely tunnel, that the way things currently are doesn't have to be the way things remain. And as far as the professional and the person, I think that a healthy person would be an unstoppable professional.
Mm-hmm.
And as a side note, if a workplace is pigeonholing you based on stereotypes, maybe they don't deserve you.
That was a lot.
You just gave me a short amount of time.
There was so many good pieces to that. But what I can say is I've read your chapter and it leaves me with hope. And I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So thank you, Dr. Brandy and Mike, for your contribution and sharing your journey with us and being an inspiration. And now we'd like to move on to the next two contributing authors, Summer Beach and Maisha Wilder.
All right. So Summer Beach is a dynamic and results-focused leader and author with over 20 years of experience breaking barriers to promote academic excellence, diversity, and inclusion. Summer's leadership journey is marked by her commitment to shattering stereotypes, leading transformative initiatives that empower educators and foster inclusive educational communities. Maisha Wilder is a spark that ignites potential. She's a trailblazer who thrives on breaking barriers and embracing individuality. With over 15 years of experience in psychology, counseling, and education, she has dedicated her life to helping individuals and teams thrive by shattering the stereotypes that hold them back. And so I am super excited to have you both join us today. And first, starting off, we'll start with you, Maisha. Just share with us what inspired you both to contribute to this book.
Absolutely. I'm very, very excited. I bring you greetings from Orlando, Florida. And when we hear the word shatter, we oftentimes think about destructive rather. And I often think about, when I hear the word shatter, I want to challenge people to think about a baby bird in an eggshell. That shell served its purpose. That shell protected the baby bird, but that baby bird gained strength stronger than the shell and broke through that eggshell so that it could fly and thrive. So what inspired me to contribute to Shattering Stereotypes is not to provide a perspective on destruction, but rather provide a perspective on gaining strength in your wings to break through. And I can also give an example about the good side of shattering things. I know many of you watching today may have had a piggy bank when you were younger. I know I had one. So the good thing about shattering the piggy bank was that what was on the inside was valuable. And so the outside of that piggy bank served its purpose. But when it was time for that money to be spent, it was time for me to shatter that piggy bank. So I wanted to encourage people to shatter and break through the things that hold us back. And I hope that that does that for the readers, not just in my chapter, but the entire book.
Oh, I love that. Yes, yes, I love that. Summer, can you share with us what inspired you?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Mack. Maisha, that was powerful. Thank you for sharing. And Dr. G, thank you for being the visionary author on this project. It's amazing. Part of my inspiration for being part of this passion project, honestly, were all the people that were part of the project, and seeing the immense impact that one human being can make in this world. And that kind of leads me to my second piece of inspiration. I contributed to this chapter, honestly, for the 4-year-old me, the 8-year-old me, the 22-year-old me, the 35-year-old me that didn't know how to have their own voice and identity, and just fell into people pleasing, and pathologically so, likely. So now that I've had this platform to use my voice as a way, as not only an internal piece of kind of full circle healing, but also to give back and know that my experiences, although unique to me, I know they will resonate with others. And I hope that when people read my chapter, that's what they feel. And echoing the sentiments of Maisha, that, I think the whole book is going to just be mind-blowing. Thank you.
Oh, I love that. Now, continue with that. Can you share with us a powerful lesson or insight from your chapter that you believe everyone maybe should hear about?
Yeah. So, my lesson, or a key takeaway from my chapter, it seems on one hand so very, very simple, and yet it's probably one of the most complex things to do. I believe that we really can lead fearlessly when we are embracing our authentic selves, and that we love ourselves first and foremost, because that love fills over into all the interactions that we have, our passions for our work, for our family, and pursuits. So I think that, high level loving yourself, it really involves understanding yourself, and being aware of what it is that brings you joy, and what it is that frustrates you. And so I think through cultivating that self-love, the world is so worthy of hearing your voice and experiencing your greatness. And more importantly, you are worthy of experiencing that for yourself, and just know that no matter what obstacles, barriers, stereotypes, anything that metaphorically or literally hold you back, you can break through those, and this book will wrap around you like a hug.
Oh, I love that. Wrap around you like a hug. Whew. And Maisha, can you share like how has writing for Shattering Stereotypes really changed your perspective or even strengthened your commitment to breaking barriers?
Absolutely. I learned that the way we look at things oftentimes needs just a tilt of the head or the transfer of lenses. And I can remember very vividly learning how to cook as a newly married wife. And I was in the kitchen with my mother-in-law, who I want to dedicate this book to, who has passed away 2 years ago, but she has a special place in my heart. And I remember very vividly, Dr. Mack and Dr. Iris, when I cooked a dish for her and I was headed to the trash can, I was like, no, I don't want you to taste it. It doesn't taste well. And I was headed to the trash can and she told me, Maisha, give it here. I don't want you to throw it away because you may just need to add something to it. And so what helped me to change my perspective on stereotypes is how I was treated as a person. People looked at me and said, no, I don't want Maisha. I don't want to be around her. They didn't taste me. They didn't experience me. They just took me and headed to the trash can. And so I learned from my mother-in-law that before you step any closer to the trash can, I want you to remember that you are valuable. You have something on the inside that will not be thrown away. So in my chapter titled Dismissed into Destiny is what helped me to change my perspective on how people have wanted to dismiss me, wanted to disregard you, wanted to discard you. But those dismissals was a redirection to destiny. So I learned again from her, don't step any closer to trashing yourself or devaluing yourself, because you are headed to destiny when others think you are dismissed.
So many words. Yes. Well, I want to thank you both, Summer and Maisha, for your inspiring contributions and just sharing your journeys with us. And just really being a part of this project has been such an amazing experience, and being able to work with you both. And so I just want to thank you. And I can't wait for the readers to share, read and, share the greatness that how they've been impacted as well from you sharing your own journey. And so now we're going to move on to hear from two more of our contributing authors. And coming up now to the stage, we have Dr. Caitlin Rios and Trelane Clark.
Hi. Thank you for
Hi
having us.
there. To think we're just getting started. I mean, I'm already full. I don't know how you guys feel, but I'm already full. But I am so excited to introduce both of you. Let me jump into it. Dr. Caitlin Rios is a doctor of physical therapy, a board-certified wound specialist who has shattered stereotypes by excelling in leadership roles within wound care. Dr. Rios empowers women to overcome adversity and navigate toxic work environments, particularly in male-dominated industries. Trelane Clark is an accomplished education leader with over 26 years of experience, dedicated to breaking barriers and shattering stereotypes within education. Trelane inspires others to lead with purpose, resilience, and integrity, empowering educators and students to thrive beyond traditional limitations. Welcome again. I'm excited to jump into this with you. We'll start with the same question. What inspired you both to contribute to this book? And Dr. Rios, if you want to jump us off.
Sure. So first off, thank you for having me. It's a thrill and an honor to be here. Dr. Garner, you are kind of the main inspiration by why I'm actually here today. You saw something in me, and I appreciate that. It's always great to feel seen. You have connected with me via LinkedIn, and you were seeing me writing and getting my voice out there, getting my story out there. And that was a hard step for me to take. I was not confident in my writing, and yet you picked that out in me, and you said, you've got something special and you need to keep going with it. And then right around the time when this book opportunity came about, I was starting my nonprofit, Face with Grace. And that was really the true inspiration behind wanting to write about this. I stepped out of the stereotype of being a doctor of physical therapy and actually leaving the bedside, which in medicine is a very hard thing to do and oftentimes seen as a little bit taboo. That you get that fear of feeling like you've abandoned your patients and your calling and your passions. And but I did it for protective reasons, to protect my mental health and to keep my sanity and my peace. And so I wrote this chapter, and I'm inspired to write this chapter to show other women, show other healthcare professionals that you can do that and that it's okay. And that, doing things, pivoting for your power, peace, and purpose, as my chapter is called, really is, it's an okay step to take, and it's a safe one to take, and it's a beautiful one. And there's so much potential on the other side of that you won't get to realize until you're there. So I encourage everyone to read the chapter, and hopefully it resonates with you and you feel empowered.
Dr. Rios, I have to tell you, for a while, I would read your posts and they inspired me. There was something about every word that I could feel, I could see, I felt like I was a part of seeing your journey. And so I am just so grateful that you were bold and brave enough to take that journey. So thank you for that. And moving on to Trelane, I'd love to hear why this book. What lured you to this project?
Well, first off, thank you so much for being the visionary author and giving a title that just grabbed me. It said Shattering Stereotypes. I said, oh, I can do this. This is what I do every day. So I'm super excited to be a part. I'm so full from the other authors who've shared now already and who are coming after me. But working with Dr. Mack previously was also such a wonderful experience. So just super excited to challenge myself to think about the stereotypes that I feel like I have shattered and trying to choose. It was hard at first to try to think about, okay, well, which stereotype can I and should I write about in this time? And so I chose to think about my journey as a new leader when I became a principal right at the top of the pandemic. So that right there was definitely some stereotype shattering that I had to do in regards to being a new leader, in regards to people, thinking about or making assumptions about who I was and why I was placed where I was placed, etc. So that is the topic of my chapter.
Well, thank you for that. Let's stay there. And you said something that grabbed me. You said, I do it every day. And you do it with so much grace every day. So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you.
Of course. So the question I have for you is, was there a personal experience, you kind of alluded to that made this topic important to you?
Yes, definitely. So I called myself a pandemic principal, and I know that I do have a few friends out there who also started their principal journey in July of 2020, and we all know what that time period was like. But starting in a school as a principal on screen, meeting my staff and my students on screen was nothing that they taught me in grad school. Had to figure all that out, just like everyone else. And I was coming behind a retiree who had been there for over 17 years. So there were a lot of things that I had to overcome. And so when I really sat down to write, I thought about, okay, well, what was it that I did? Because, when you're in the moment, you can't quite sort of, identify what those things are. But when I reflected on it, I went back and I said, I had to focus. I really had to focus on what I was doing, why I was doing it. This was my dream. I wanted to become a principal since I was 14 years old. And so, I always joke with the universe, and I said, the universe decided to give me my dream at the top of a pandemic. Like, okay, great, sure, I'm in. But focusing was really, really key for me, and really identifying all of the pieces that are going to help me to be successful. And so I share some of those tips in my chapter.
Well, thank you for that. Did you want to give like a sneak peek on FOCUS is an acronym?
It is.
And I was just beside myself when I read your chapter, and it lured me in. And kudos to you for driving fearlessly during the pandemic. That's huge in itself.
Yeah. So I think I can give you one of the acronyms meanings, and it is to communicate frequently and clearly. So it seems as if, that's sort of a given, right? But especially in times of crisis, it is so important for leaders to make sure that they are communicating often and very clearly, because we have a responsibility to try to make sure that those that we are leading feel at least somewhat comfortable in pursuing their roles and their responsibilities. And so we have to give them as much information as we can, be transparent about what they're able to know, but then also know exactly what to pull back on, because too much information for those who don't need it is also not a good thing. So really sort of looking at all the pieces and determining, okay, this piece is for me to deal with, and these are these pieces of information that I want for my staff to deal with. So that's one of the parts of the acronym and the tips.
Thank you for that. Thank you for giving them a sneak peek.
Thank you.
And Caitlin, I want to move over to you. What advice would you give to someone struggling to break free from limiting beliefs and societal expectations?
What a great question. So my chapter deals with my experiences navigating toxic workplaces. And so I think that, the advice I would give is to get super, super clear on your core values. If you can identify, call it the 5 things that matter most to you and the values you want to adhere to, everything becomes crystal clear. Because it's your guidepost, right? You can hold that up to any situation you're in, up against any person you're having to deal with, any organization you're working in, and see, does it align with my values? And if it doesn't, it gives you a very clear answer as to what you do next, right? But yeah, I think that really helped me. And unfortunately, while I was navigating the toxic workplace I identified in my chapter, I wasn't crystal clear on my values. And it took me years to get there. And now navigating any toxic situation is much simpler because I've learned my lessons. But that's the other thing is as you're going through hard times, to just really pay attention. Write everything down. Write down how it makes you feel, especially the bad things, because I think that's really where the lessons lie in life, is in those hard times. And, we have the beauty and the benefit of being able to walk away from negative experiences with a positive lesson. And I think it's wonderful to be able to capitalize on that in the future.
Well, thank you. What stands out to me is our lessons lie in those hard times.
Absolutely. And they're always there. You just gotta, like someone else said, tilt your head and find a new perspective sometimes.
Well, thank you both. You have both inspired me to think deeper, to move fearlessly forward, and to continue to inspire others. So thank you. And we're going to move on to our next contributing authors, Cherie Bogany and Dr. Marcy Strahan.
Well, let me tell you all about Cherie. Cherie Bogany is a trailblazer, and her journey reflects the power of defying expectations and breaking through societal limitations. For sure. She is a dedicated leader who has spent her career shattering stereotypes and fostering inclusive environments where others thrive. Through, and one thing that I think I love about Cherie that she's anchored in this mission that you live on purpose and with purpose. And so she inspires others to discover their gifts and break through the limits they once believed defined them. And so I'm honored to have Cherie Bogany join us today. So welcome, Cherie. We also have Dr. Marcy Strahan, who is a dedicated leader and spent her career, of course, shattering stereotypes and fostering inclusive environments as well, where others can thrive. And through her self-care workbook for all, Dr. Strahan empowers others to break through barriers by prioritizing self-care and personal growth while also inspiring them to lead with purpose and resilience. And so thank you both for joining us and being a part of this amazing project. I've been able to work with you both in so many different capacities. And so I'm super excited to have you a part of the project. But please share with us what inspired you to contribute and be a part of this Shattering Stereotypes book. And we'll start with you, Cherie.
Honestly, when the project came, I want to thank you and Dr. Garner for just the opportunity to be a part of such an immaculate piece of work. I call it a piece of art. With that, my entire life has been
think she froze on us, guys. It's okay. We're gonna go ahead and go to you, Dr. Strahan, and hopefully she'll come back in on. So, Dr. Strahan, can you share with us what inspired you to join?
Okay, thank you for having me. I will have to start off by saying, for some reason, Dr. Mack, it's just hard to say no to you. So when you initially asked, I was like, okay, what is my self-care piece gonna, do? How does that play into shattering stereotypes? But I do recall early on, I had a meeting with both you and Dr. Garner, and you were both so encouraging. And you made me see that my self-care piece does have a place in us shattering those stereotypes. We put so much focus into the productivity of everything that we do. And not a lot of people talk about just what you have to do for yourself in order to show up in those spaces, wherever it is. I just so happen to be an educational leader, so I'm always thinking of educators first. And it's a lot. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of pulling and tugging in different areas and deadlines and things of that nature that you can't change. You have no control over. But what you do have control over are those things that you do for yourself so you can show up as the best version of yourself. And so that's just what led me to want to be a part of this wonderful work. And even now hearing the authors and them sharing their pieces, it's just a wonderful group of people to be around. So I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity.
Oh, I love that. And can you share with us what impact do you hope that this book will have on readers, particularly those who have experienced societal stereotypes?
The impact that I hope that it has is just for everyone to not necessarily consider self-care as just that luxury that you do for yourself, but to really acknowledge that it is essential. Most recently, I had a conversation. Well, my mom was actually being interviewed and I was listening in. But she talked about her experience integrating one of the high schools where I currently serve as a district leader. And one of the things that she said when it talked about societal stereotypes and things of that nature, being a Black woman coming in and integrating a school, she said that she always had to work harder and be better in everything that she was doing than everyone else to make it appear or for her to feel like she actually belonged in that space. And it was interesting when she said that, because I was like, oh, is that the reason why I work the way I do? Because I'm always on a grind of some sort. And I was like, well, maybe that's what it comes from, which is not a bad thing. It's just also adding that self-care piece. That's not a luxury. It's essential. You have to do those things for yourself in order to be able to show up at the workplace, especially when there is a challenge that you need to overcome. And, we can't try to necessarily fix that. It's just, we know what we have to do. So if you know you're going to have to work hard, then you also have to refuel yourself, whatever that looks like.
I love that. And you talk about self-care a lot. And so that refueling piece I think is really key and essential for many of us when we're thinking about challenges that we have to overcome and face. So thank you so much for sharing. And we hope that when Cherie's is able to join us back, we'll bring her back on and of course get her to share her part too. But thank you for joining and being a part of this project. It's even though it's hard to say no, but I'm glad you said yes.
Yes.
And so I want to thank you for joining us. And let's see if we can get Cherie back on. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe she's here. Oh, I think she's back. There she is, back and lovely. Yes, yes.
Look, I'm shattering that stereotype.
Already, yes.
We had technical difficulties, but I am back on. And so thank you so much for being patient with me. But as I was saying, I really talked about my journey from childhood. And I didn't realize how God wanted all the dots to connect in my life. It's just been, when I think about schooling, like I said, my mom intentionally sending me to PWIs to make sure that I was able to function and be a part of society. Well, who knew that I was going to be a trailblazer? Because when you go out and you seek leadership opportunities, you don't go and say, hey, I want to be the first African-American female. You don't do that. You just go and you hope that you're the best person for the job, and that's where God places you to serve your purpose. And so in the chapter, I really focus on just my upbringing. I even talk about my time working at the best job ever in the world, Six Flags Astro World, where you just have fun with all of your friends and everybody from every high school and college in the area. And I talk about just some of those things. And then I talk about some of the stereotypes that I've endured and conquered during my journey with leadership. I think it's very, very important for me to say a quote from the book, that you grow through what you go through. I think that's very important. I really reference the Bible verse that iron sharpens iron as one person sharpens another. And so it's my prayer that everyone that reads this book will not only get tools to help go through the stereotypes that they deal with themselves, but also be victorious and win, no matter what. Because at the end of the day, if you're qualified, you're qualified. And so I just hope that this book not only gives you hope, but also gives you joy, and it gives you those steps that you need to move forward and be successful and win.
Oh, I love that. Well, I want to thank you both, Cherie and Dr. Strahan. It's always a joy to work with you and to continue making a positive impact in communities in so many different ways. And I know that your chapters will definitely inspire others to continue to also shatter stereotypes and break through the mold as well. And so thank you guys for joining us today. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce and move on to our next contributing authors. We have Miss Lanisa Ross and Miss Lakita Pronti.
I'll introduce Lanisa Ross is a table maker, fierce advocate for digital equity in education, dedicated to breaking barriers, creating opportunities for students and educators to thrive. Lanisa unapologetically takes up space, inspiring others to embrace their voices and lead with resilience and authenticity. Lakita Prunti has dedicated nearly 2 decades to shattering stereotypes and advocating for families and students in her community. Lakita is committed to empowering others by breaking down barriers, cultivating self-confidence, and providing the support needed to help individuals both excel academically and personally. I am so excited to interview you and talk a little bit about your chapters. I have to just share this 10-second thing. Met Lanisa about 8 months ago, and I call her Queen because there's something about her essence that reminds me of Diana Ross. So I'm excited for you guys to see what I see in both Lanisa and Lakita. So I'll start out by asking the same question, why this project? What resonated about this project to you? And I'll start with you, Lanisa.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And to be honest, what I'm going to say, it was fear. I keep hearing a lot of people say, fearlessly going forward. I need you to know I am doing this with fear, with fear right now. But I'm also not letting fear stop me. And so I have had the privilege of being surrounded by some of the most incredible women and colleagues. I think I consider myself very privileged in that sense, but I've also, the amount of times that I've seen these women or these humans dim their light or question their worth because they were defined by someone else's expectations rather than their potential. I've sat in rooms where ideas were dismissed until someone else repeated them, where people had to work twice as hard just to be seen as competent or let alone taken seriously. And stereotypes, they don't just box us in, they rob us of opportunities, shake our confidence, and make us question our own potential. So I didn't always have someone that told me that I could break the mold. And so now I want to be that voice for someone else. And if only one person reads my chapter and they see themselves in my story, they realize they're not alone and that they too can challenge the limits that are placed on them, then I know that this was worth writing.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And Lakita?
I would have to agree with Lanisa. I feel like I shatter stereotypes every day, just because of my zip code, upbringing. I didn't come from a two-parent household. So my mom worked. She was, but I was the first person in my family to go to college. So I'm continuously breaking stereotypes, but also I want other people to break those stereotypes as well. You're not supposed to fit in just a box, and no one should be able to box you in.
Thank you for sharing that. I have to tell you, when I read your chapter, you know how you read something and it just leaves you thinking, and it just requires you to kind of be more reflective. And that is what your chapter did for me, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Of course. So I want to stay with you, Lakita, and I have a question. How has being a part of this book shaped your perspective and strengthened your commitment to breaking stereotypes?
Well, first of all, when I read the title, I just knew I had to be on this project, because that's something that I'm passionate about. I work with students that may come from low socioeconomic areas, or they may have done things in the past, and people continue to label them instead of listening to them and seeing them and getting to know them and building those relationships. And that's something that I'm very passionate about, building relationships, because if you don't have that relationship, how can you really see someone? How do you know? You don't. You just see things that you've done in the past, and it doesn't allow them to change. They feel like they're stuck, and you continue to beat them down every day. You don't do anything to build them up. So I had to do this project, and I feel like Lanisa, a lot of it was fear, because I'm not used to being heard. I don't feel like anyone hears me. So I felt like this project was a way to get my voice heard, and an opportunity to advocate for other people. So my commitment is to continue breaking stereotypes every day, not just for myself, but for others.
Thank you for that. And I want to tell you that I see you and I hear you. So thank you for sharing. And Lanisa, tell me about one or two takeaways that you want the readers to have from your chapter.
I think one takeaway I really want readers to take away is how much internal dialogue matters. For so long, I believed that I didn't belong because I was adopted. And that belief made me shrink, doubt, feel alone. But I always wonder, what if I had looked at that differently? What if I didn't look at being adopted as a gap or a negative, but a gift? What if it meant I was chosen? What if it was a symbol of strength and resilience? And when I started looking at it in that capacity, the shift in perspective didn't change my past, but it changed me. It changed how I carried myself, and it changed what I was capable of. And all of us have been told we're too much or we're not enough. And what if that's not the truth? You're too aggressive. No, you're passionate. You're fearless. You're too nice. No, you're kind. You're empathetic. You're too much. No, you're powerful. So just flipping the label, reframing it, owning it. And really that's what I want people to take away, is to take that insecurity and look at it differently. Ask yourself, what if this is actually my greatest strength? Because when you shift your perspective, you don't just shift your mindset, you change the way that you show up in the world and take up space.
I am so glad you're taking up space, and you are indeed chosen, friend. And I am so grateful that our paths crossed, and want you both to know that you are an inspiration to me and so many other people. Thank you so much.
Yes, and I want to bring up our last contributing author. And so, Dr. Gardner, if you can introduce her, we're going to go ahead and bring her to the stage, and that is Miss Safali Takar.
Yes, and who is a visionary leader dedicated to breaking down barriers, creating equitable access to technology and education. Through her work, Safali shatters stereotypes and advocate for digital equity, ensuring all voices are heard and all students have the tools they need to be successful.
Thank you so much for that awesome introduction. I'm so excited to be a part of this phenomenal group of young women trailblazers. Humbled. Thank you.
Awesome. What about this project resonated with you?
You know, we started this year with, you know, a lot of words. Words hold a lot of power. And in the title of this, there's, you know, this fierceness, this forging, this formula. That letter F keeps resonating this year in my experience. My inspiration has been you, Dr. G, and I think this work calls to me because you started with 3 F words in the beginning of the year of being faithful, focused, and fruitful in the work we get to take on collectively. And I think this book gave us that opportunity to really think through forging forward in the work that we're leaning into. It's not work that's ever been done before. We're doing it for the first time. And I think that's a calling.
Thank you for sharing that. I have to lean on those 3 words, those F words, because that's what fuels me day by day. If the reader takes away just one key lesson from your chapter, what is it and why?
It's another F word. It's failure. It's, you know, this notion of we need to rewrite the narrative of what failure means. It is never an end. It is the start to a journey, and it is how we learn. It's how we grow. It's how we become a better version of ourselves. And when we think into reframing that word in education, we've really not done it justice. And our students and our learners, even adult learners, suffer from the consequences of not leaning into a failure with an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to be a better version of themselves. And so if that's the single most lesson that someone takes out of that chapter is that we learn through these challenges. We might stumble through them. We might crawl through them. We might fear fiercely through them. But once we lean into them, we have shattered those boundaries that others have put on us or that we've put on ourselves with the narrative we keep telling ourselves internally. That dialogue, I think Lenny Sarah hit the nail on the head, is that is so much more powerful. And when we tap into that, that's how we grow. That's how we become a 2.0 version of ourselves in time.
Thank you for that. I hope that we're all striving to be that, to journey into that 2.0. But I have to tell you, there's not a day that goes by that there's not something that you've said or done that ushers me into my 2.0. And I appreciate that. And I'm so excited that you are a part of this project.
It's been humbling because I think we have to journey through self to write. And that's a first for me. And so firsts can be terrifying. And leaning into that has been only with the grace of support from you and Dr. Mack in this adventure that we've kind of journeyed through together in this collaboration.
Well, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And back over to you, Dr. Mack.
Well, I just want to thank all of our contributing authors for sharing their stories and their insights today. I think for those who are watching, it's definitely been impactful. And I'm sure that anyone, no matter what their background or field is in, can definitely resonate with a lot of the experiences that are shared, the knowledge and the nuggets that have been shared today. And so I'm really excited to share with the world, what has been brewing and shattering stereotypes. And so, I just want to also thank you, Dr. Garner, for being the visionary to bring this such a sensitive topic for some, but also I like that Dr. Strahan said earlier, refueling, because I feel like part of the journey, as some of the authors already shared, is like, it kind of fueled them to kind of really reflect and consider like their moments forward, and even for myself. And so I definitely love being a part of this project and really supporting all the authors through the process. But I would like to ask you for closing remarks and to share and reflect on the journey on creating this book and what it means for everyone.
Absolutely. First, my cup of gratitude, it runs over. I met you about a year ago, and saw your work and was just in awe of your commitment to shattering stereotypes, to giving a stage and a purpose to people that have a voice. And you have inspired me, and I am incredibly grateful for that. And along with that, every single contributing author that trusted my vision, that saw me and heard me and understand the plight that we're on to be change makers, I am eternally grateful for you. My daughters and my mother, my father, and my brother, um, my husband puts up with me shattering stereotypes. I'm absolutely sure that he's tired of talking about this book, but every day he gets up and inspires me to move forward. So I am indeed grateful for them, and for every reader that has been told that you're not enough, or you should not do that, or this is not the place for you. I want you to know that they are incorrect. You own your narrative, and you get to determine where you need to be and how you get to show up. So my last three things, and Safali kind of took some of those from me. We reside in another organization together, and those were my three words, the F words. Faithful. I want to challenge every single one of you to be faithful, to show up for yourself every day, a little bit wiser and stronger every single day. And I want to and challenge you to also be focused, be fiercely focused on coming out of 2025 better than how you came in, and to be fruitful, that every single way you travel along your path, that there is fruit. It's fruit in not just possessions, but fruit in changing the mind of society, where it looks upon people as that they're not enough, but transform that into that they're more than enough. And so with that, I will turn it over to you.
Well, those are some powerful words to end with. So thank you so much. So as we come to a close of this launch, I like to encourage one tuning in to help make this book a bestseller. Um, Now, you can support this movement by requesting your pre-order of Shattering Stereotypes today. Your support ensures that you'll be among the first to access this powerful collection of stories and insights. We also want to remind you to support the author you're connected with by purchasing a print copy directly from them. And not only will this provide you with a tangible keepsake, but it also will uplift and help uplift the incredible contributing authors who brought this book to life. And so finally, we're excited to announce that we will be hosting an in-person launch coming soon. We're going to be hosting it in Houston, Texas in May. So stay tuned in. Make sure you're following us on social media. And for those who are able to join us, we would love to have you there. It would be a fantastic opportunity to meet some of the contributing authors in person, hear their stories firsthand, and get your book signed. And so I want to thank you all again for joining us in this celebration, for your continued support of educators and change makers who are making a difference every day. To stay connected and keep this conversation going, be sure to follow us on social media at Mac Media Pub, or you can follow me at Dr. J.E. McDonald. Wishing you all an inspired and uplifting journey ahead. I would like to say goodbye and take care. Oh, let's bring them all up. Okay, they're going to come up. They're coming up all. So I just want to thank you guys for all that you are doing. So thank you so much for being a part of this project. It has been a pleasure and a great journey. And so we just want to celebrate you before we go. And so I know we have a few more basis to bring up. And so, Maria, I just continue just exchanging them out. And we just want to say thank you guys so much for joining us. Those who are tuning in live, watching us, we want to thank you for staying with us during this stay. It has been an impactful and powerful journey. And I'm super excited to hear and see all the great things to come. And so, with that said, I hope you guys have an amazing, awesome, and keep shattering stereotypes, because we are fiercely forging forward.